clusters inside there, which allows for a lot of local self-government. And then inside that, little neighborhoods. Here's Chinatown, here's Telegraph Hill, these little neighborhoods, and then inside that, little broken grid patterns. We do a little bit of grid, but we kind of break them up with other things. That's Christopher Alexander's neighborhood in Berkeley, I guess it is. So, and then you can go even further, like what's the nicest pattern to have in, on a city block? What's an attractive pattern for a face of a building to be? How can we play with edge? He has little patterns like when you're building a room, windows on two sides at least. You really feel a difference in a room that only has the windows on one side. As soon as you move the two sides, suddenly the room becomes much more inhabitable. Or breaking windows up with mullions. The great big blank picture window, it's kind of nice, but actually if you put mullions in it to break it up, it gives it a much more human feel. So he calls each one of these a pattern, and inside, so they move from big patterns down to smaller and smaller and smaller patterns. And what you can do with this book is do a mix and match. You can say, when I'm designing this house, I'm going to use pattern 116, pattern 118, pattern 127, and pattern 133 because they will all support the sorts of things that I'm doing. So this is a pattern language for architecture. David Jackie's book, Edible Forest Gardens, which is back in the bookshelf there, has a pattern language for forest garden design, the types of patterns that you want to have in your forest garden to make it nice, and just a palette to choose from. Kind of like, do I want red, do I want blue? It's the same sort of thing with pattern languages. Do I want nice sitting spaces? Do I want nectar-producing plants? And so we can create pattern languages for almost anything we're trying to do, where we can assemble the grammar of this pattern to give us meaningful sentences, meaningful paragraphs, meaningful stories, actually. This is kind of stories within stories within stories, and each one is a really nice story. Because I think Alexander got started on this by observing places that nobody liked. Big office parks with concrete laid everywhere and everything's in a grid, and it's like, how come no one's sitting on any of those benches?